Hospitals, prisons and even a children's hospice. A report today will reveal new details about the huge extent of Jimmy Savile's abuse.
It's expected to say he assaulted up to 500 children and young people over nearly 4 decades. Louisa James is outside Scotland Yard and unbelievably, I suppose, the extent actually goes much further than we already know.
Yes, Ranveer, it's hard to imagine, I think, that detectives here could ever have envisaged the extent of what they would uncover when they were asked to look into allegations of sexual abuse by Jimmy Savile. Well, today they'll publish a 30-page report which reveals him as a serial offender and says that he carried out that abuse at a series of institutions, including a children's hospice.
We already know of some of the names, don't we, of the hospitals, the sort of high-profile ones, but what else are we likely to hear?
Well, Ranveer, we're expecting some pretty appalling details to come out of today's report. It's been carried out jointly by detectives here at the Metropolitan Police and also by the NSPCC. It's not due out until a bit later on this morning, but it's expected to reveal new details about the extent of the abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile, and in particular, as you said, where he carried out that abuse. We already know that he abused people at 3 hospitals: Stoke Mandeville, Broadmoor and Leeds.
Good morning. The full extent of sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile will be revealed by an official inquiry today. It's expected to say he assaulted up to 500 children and young people over nearly 4 decades, including at a hospice. Louisa James is outside Scotland Yard, and the extent of the abuse actually goes much further than we could have ever anticipated.
Well, yes, good morning, Ranveer. It's hard to imagine that detectives here could ever have envisaged the scale of what they would uncover when they were asked to look into allegations of sexual abuse carried out by Jimmy Savile. They'll publish today a 30-page report which exposes him as a serial abuser on an unprecedented scale and reveals new details about where he carried out that abuse at 13 new institutions, including a children's hospice. When police officers here at New Scotland Yard were asked to look into allegations of sexual abuse by Jimmy Savile back in October, they probably could never have imagined the scale of what they would uncover. But they'll publish a report today which reveals him to be a serial abuser on an unprecedented scale, and also reveals for the first time the details of where he carried out that abuse, including at a children's hospice.
An official inquiry today. It's expected to say he assaulted up to 500 children and young people over nearly 4 decades, including at a hospice. Well, Louisa James is outside Scotland Yard for us. And Louisa, the report will name the shocking number of institutions he infiltrated, won't it?
Well, yes, Ranveer, I don't think that detectives here could ever have imagined the scale of what they would uncover when they were asked to look into allegations of sexual abuse by Jimmy Savile back in October. But in a couple of hours, they'll publish a 30-page report which exposes him as a serial offender and, as you say, for the first time names 13 new institutions where he carried out that abuse, including a children's hospice.